Hello and welcome to Redefining Real Estate. I'm Brian Dobbs. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a fantastic program scheduled for you. We have Jonathan Fetchner with Bridge Builders, Kenneth Carr with First Response Mortgage. We are thrilled. They are great guys. You guys are really going to enjoy them, enjoy their story, enjoy learning more about what they do and who they are. And I want to welcome in my co-host, Lyndon Wilson, a great friend of mine. Lyndon, you have had some amazing stats with the difference so far.
We have, Brian. Really excited about it. Pulled up some stats. Of course, I'm a stats guy, so I'm watching numbers all the time. But I was able to pull some off of the past year, where we started as just one show. Of course, that show, when COVID hit, I don't like to use the term blessing with COVID, but for those who are opportunistic, there were some good things that came out of that because it forced them to get out of a comfort zone, which was what we did. We all kind of went from one show to each individual show. And over the past 13 months, we've had over 500,000 people, over 500,000 people that have had access to our shows. We've actually run 192 individual shows since March. So it's been this huge learning curve for me, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited that we're doing so much for the communities and the small businesses. Yep. That's really what gets me pumped up.
Absolutely. So I want to be able to talk to you about that a little bit more, but let's bring in Jonathan and Ken. Jonathan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the show with you all.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I haven't talked to you in a while, and you have some really cool, exciting things happening, and it's been a neat ride. And Ken, glad that you're here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I was just talking to Lyndon just a minute ago about the numbers and the difference, and I just want to give a shout out to the difference and what you have done with this program, Lyndon, and how your commitment, your perseverance, and I know the struggles and the roadblocks and the potholes. We talk about every day, guys, and I want to tell you, when you put the energy and the time and the effort and you're consistent at doing it, and you do it over and over and over, regardless of if you're seeing the numbers or not, things begin to tip. They begin to fill in that bucket, and then you reach a tipping point, you reach a critical mass, things start to happen. So whatever you sow, guess what? You are going to reap. And it says, even in that, don't be weary, don't lose heart. So, God cannot be mocked. So just continue sowing the good seed, continue putting in the effort and your energy and your time in it, because it does pay off. So 1 year, Lyndon, you have done a fantastic job. You're definitely an inspiration to many and helping build the community. And that's fantastic. So
thank you, Brian.
Let's dive right into this. Ken, I want you to go first and tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us that snapshot about you and who you are and what you're doing.
Okay, so I was a police officer for 30 years. I retired in 2017, and I was looking for a career that I could have as a second career, but that would lead me on to continue to help the community, help build a better place for people to live and be in. So I actually went through almost 3 years of interviewing with big companies that were supply of law enforcement stuff, like the people who supply the police radios or the tasers or the firearms or any of those type of things. I have connections throughout the industry, and those doors kept shutting, and I didn't realize that I just wasn't doing what I needed where I needed to be. And then out of the blue, kind of like how I met you, out of the blue, I had a contact with a guy who was a mortgage officer in Florida, and he told me, Ken, I think you're missing the boat here. I think you need to go in and go get your license and become a loan officer, because I think that's really what you're going to do. And after I did that, I was able to go through and get my license and start helping people. And now the doors are all opening. So for 3 years, I thought I knew what I needed to do, but sometimes those things are out of your control. And until that first door opens by his grace, it made all the difference in the world. And we are happier now than we've been. We're getting people in houses that just I get goosebumps every time we close a house, and that's why I'm here. So
that's fantastic. And you do know when those doors open. And it is a rough season when those doors are not opening, and you're just like, oh my goodness, what do we do? And that just praise God you found it. That's awesome, and you found the right door. It's open for you. That's fantastic, and I am so thankful. And just to if you're listening today, for Ken, how we met. We didn't meet in a networking group. We didn't meet, through a connection. We met through that old fashioned way. Ken actually picked up the phone. He found my connection. I think you found my contact information. Either was it social media?
Mm-hmm. Facebook.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And he just called me. He picked up the phone. It's amazing. The thing works still. Do you have your phone right there? He reached out and made that bold step. And I want to tell you the connections that I'm receiving in my life right now are coming through some really unique channels, which is a blessing. So whether it's a Facebook connection, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's cold call, I was happy. I was actually getting ready to meet a client, and I talked to Ken and I said, hey, listen, I have like 6 or 7 minutes or something. And not to be rude, I said, I had 6 or 7 minutes and we're going to have a hard stop, but I really appreciate you calling. And we connected. And I want to tell you, just meeting people like that, I don't believe in coincidences or accidents. So Ken, I appreciate you making that phone call and reaching out and doing what the Lord put in your heart. Number 2, I really appreciate you being on the show today. This is going to be fun, guys. So Jonathan, let us know a little bit about, again, your snapshot, what you do, who you are, and that's just weird, but what you do and who you are. How about that?
Yeah. So I'm a Dallas native, was born here, grew up here, now work here. And I actually grew up in a ministry that my dad and family were a part of from the beginning. It's called Bridge Builders. And that's now where I work today. And so I've been here for 2.5 years now, working as the executive director, leading this ministry, and really just enjoy the day-to-day work of getting to see transformation in people's lives here in South Dallas. So we work in a community specifically called Bonton. It's about 2,500 to 3,000 residents. To give you a snapshot, average income is about $12,000 here in the neighborhood. Only 35% of our neighborhood has reliable transportation. We have below a 50% high school graduation rate. So that's kind of the demographics that we're working in, some of the things that we're battling against. But there's so many amazing people in the neighborhood that we serve, so much potential and so much energy moving in the right direction. And so we get to walk alongside those residents and serve them with after school programming, summer programming, food assistance, transportation assistance, job training programs. We kind of operate out of the mentality that if we don't have the programming, we're going to find somebody who does and walk alongside you and love you and encourage you as you seek to better your life for the kingdom.
That's fantastic. And then you guys also tell me a little bit about the neighborhood outreach, how you do your what you don't call it block busting. What do you call it?
Adopt a block. Adopt a
block.
So
horrible at memory. But
you were close, Brian. You were close.
Not blockbuster. We want to build up the block, right? Not bust the block. And so it's called Adopt a Block. And our heart's intention is partnering with the Bonton Neighborhood Association. We really want to empower local leadership in the communities where we serve. And so partnering with the local neighborhood association, pairing that with volunteer groups, churches, corporations, individuals who want to come down and serve. and then sending them out into the neighborhood and giving them the resources necessary. We partner with Dallas Code and Compliance, utilize that relationship so the neighborhood doesn't see them as an enemy, but rather as a resource, partnering with other city resources, utilizing tools and materials to really beautify the neighborhood and to see the physical restoration of the neighborhood, of the streets, of the public spaces, of individuals' homes. Primarily, we focus on the widows and single mothers. And so people who may not be able to do the work for themselves, and we want to walk alongside them. And so that's one of our key outreach opportunities as we do our programming on a day-to-day basis. We really believe that before we serve people in our programming, we have to know them and understand where they come from, their walk of life, what they're battling and going through. And when we engage them right in the neighborhood through this Adopt a Block program, it not only sees the beautification in the neighborhood and the physical transformation in the neighborhood, it also gives us an entryway into people's homes, into people's lives, into people's families so that we can begin walking with them.
That is awesome. So Lyndon, out of what we heard from Jonathan and Ken, we talk a lot about this stuff. So what were the key points that you got out of just hearing their a little bit about their snapshot of who they are?
Well, with Ken, it kind of resonated with me because I have historically, I can say that because I'm getting old. I can say historically now in my age, I have historically chased pathways that I ended up not going down because God had different plans for me. If you would have told me 18 months ago that I was going to be doing live video and audio and being on it, I would have said no. I'm not going to do that. And really and Brian, you know the story with how the difference has evolved into focusing on these communities and focusing on people like Jonathan and bridge builders and what they're doing for their communities and bringing awareness to that. Those are the two things that really resonated with me, is how God leads us to where he wants us to be, regardless of what we want, where we want to be and what we want to be doing. He's going to put us where we need to be. And then with Jonathan, just it reminds me of how much goes on in our communities that so many people don't know about. All the good things that are going on. We sit at home, we watch the news, we watch the misery of our country. When if we turned the news off and started talking to people that are working inside our communities, we'd probably get a lot of encouragement out of that. So that's what I love about doing the difference and getting to meet people like Kenneth and Jonathan. It just kind of, it re-energizes me every day.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. So the things that I pulled out of both of your snapshots, one, Ken, helping and serving. That is fantastic. What you did in the past, as far as building the community, protecting and serving in law enforcement is very near and dear to my heart. I pray for our law enforcement. I pray for our government. I pray for our nation on a daily basis. I'm hoping people also pray for our nation and pray that his kingdom come, his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, because that takes it above our thought process and our basically above my paycheck and my pay grade, and goes into God. Your thoughts are higher than my thoughts. Your ways are higher than my ways. Let your thoughts and your ways become apparent and transform here. And I've through your story, Ken, very encouraging that you left law, you retired from law enforcement. You still had a heart to serve. You really wanted to find that direction, and then God suddenly opened up a door, and now you have the honor and the ability to help people get financing, get on their feet, get into a home to strengthen the family and the communities. Love that. And Jonathan, I'm going to take bridge builders, and I know that means a lot to me. Just in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 12, I do real estate, guys, but I do study my Bible too. But if you guys ever wanted to go back there, that was a key verse to me back when I was it's 16 years old, because it talks about repairing the breach, being a bridge builder, and how do you go and effectually change a community, and you become that bridge builder. And I can just see, with all of us here, that Lyndon, what you're doing is bridge building. And Jonathan, you, even though the ministry is called Bridge Builders, but you are building bridges, and that is fantastic, and helping. And Ken, you're doing the same. We should all be in this bridge building exercise, from where we're serving, how we're building communities, how we're speaking to people, how we're helping people through our business, or just encouraging them through a radio program, or encouraging them in the streets, or just calling somebody up out of the blue that you saw on Facebook and said, "Hey, listen, I was just thinking about you today. Hope you have a blessed day." 3 people entered my mind this morning that I need to reach out to and just say, "Hey, listen, just thanks." There's really nothing else to be said except thank you for what you do. And, you've helped me, you talked to me, whatever it was, just be thankful. So that's really important for us to go on. And I'd kind of like to take that theme, bridge builders. How are we serving our local community, and how are we getting that word out? Because that's going to be really important. So Ken, start off with that. So when you're doing mortgages, and you're helping people, and you're consulting, what does that look like for you in your business, knowing that you have the wisdom that you share can actually affect a family's life?
Well, I think my primary goal is education, and that's where we at First Response are really, that's our key factor for everything. Is we need to teach people how a loan works, how the real estate process works, all those things. My primary job is as a trainer, and that's I did that for 28 years. So if I can get a group of people and I can stand up and talk in front of them, I'm good. So being able to take all those skills that were honed over all those training sessions, to be able to now utilize that with my clients, it's been huge. That's the key to our success. Is we're just not another, I'm working with a young man right now, and we're talking, he's buying a home, and I'm explaining to him how he can become more, how do you build wealth just by purchasing. You're no longer paying, and it's ridiculous, he was paying $1,850 a month for rent for an 800 square foot apartment. Now we're going to be investing less than that into a home. He's betting on himself instead of someone else now. So to see him, and to I wish somebody at 26 would have pulled me off and said, "Hey, get in, let's get you going with real estate, because it's not going to go anywhere but up. Sometimes we have our downs, but for the most part, you're making a good investment, and you're not wasting your money." So my job is not just to give people money, which we love to do, but it's also to educate them through the process, and explain to them long-term goals, and maybe introduce them to a financial planner that they would get along with, because at the end of the day, our job is to keep them as a client. He said, "Why are you doing this, Ken?" And I said, "Well, honestly, because I wish somebody would have took me under their wing when I was young and told me this, but
Right.
also I want to be your friend for life. We want to be able to, in 5 years, when you're married and have a kid and y'all want a new house, I want to be the first phone call you make, so that you're confident in that we can continue your success and continue your family's success, and make sure that you're not being put in a bad situation." And in a bad situation would be what we call house poor, where they've spent all their money on their house, and then they can't really afford the fun things. They still can't afford to go on the trip with the kids on the weekends. And those things are so vital in the family unit, that we want to, sometimes we have to say, "Yeah, I know you can qualify for this, but really, let's back off a little bit. That way you can still go to Disneyland, or you can go to Six Flags this weekend or something." And that's what's been really, really rewarding for us, is because my wife is my partner in this. She's just been fantastic helping me go to these events like I went with and meet people and it kind of just explain to them we're not a big bad scary people. We're hardworking people just like everybody else, and we want to help people get their make their dreams come true.
Absolutely. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to Bavette Grill. Bavette Grill helps us. They sponsor our radio program and allows redefining real estate to happen and to be a part of the difference. So if you have not had an opportunity to visit Bavette Grill, I would encourage you to do so. They are located on 8100 North Dallas Parkway in Plano, Texas. And I want to tell you, it is fantastic food, fantastic service. I've met the ownership there. They're lovely people. You will really enjoy your lunch or dinner. So mention Bavette that you've heard about Bavette Grill. That was really challenging for me to say today, but it's going to be all right. We're going to get through that deal. But mention Bavette Grill that you've heard about them on Redefining Real Estate, and you will get a free appetizer. Thank you, Lyndon, for that laugh. I love that. The emphasis on the show is not perfection. It really is not. We always want to improve. We always want to get better. But it is that fireside chat. It's that coffee talk, just like we were sitting at a table. Because again, you take that, and Ken, you said it. We're not big bad people. We're just normal, real, hardworking people that have a heart for communities. We have a heart for families. We have a heart for building relationships and partners, and just making our world a little bit better each and every day. So love the fact that about the education and the trainer, and I will second that, Ken. Put me in an audience of as big as you want. Just give me a good sound system so I don't have to get a scratchy voice, and I am a kid in a candy store. I absolutely love it. I probably talk in my sleep. We can ask my wife, but that would be a little awkward. I like to talk, and I enjoy educating, and I enjoy being with people. So the helping and serving. Lyndon, do you have any comments on that?
No, but I do want to piggyback on what you were just saying about the talking and everything like that. Is one of the things that I think is so important, is to be able to humanize the people and their businesses and their causes and their purpose, and not just commercialize it. And being real like that, Brian. And of course, I've made a couple of blunders, verbal blunders, and you always call me on that. That's why I laughed. I'm not going to let them slide by. That's for sure. But I think that, Brian, and one thing I learned from you is that you've got your core values and who you are as a person. And we do business, and we want to associate with people we know, like, and trust. And so having conversations like this where we're just human and we bring the human element to it, I think goes a long way for us all. So that's my 2 cents, but you did mess up. I marked it, so when I'm doing my blooper reel, I know exactly where to go.
You know what? I am so proud that I just got to be on a blooper reel. That I might be had to take the whole program there. So, Jonathan, one of the things that I want to share is I was in a real wacky season in my life, and when I met you, Jonathan, I was. I felt like the Lord had me, tilted upside down, backwards. I felt like I was on one of those carnival rides that you just cannot get off, and it was out of my control. And I'm like, oh God, what in the world? I mean, I have a very good, I've had very strong faith, and I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world happened? And that was one of the times that I knew I needed to serve. And I'm like, I've got to get out of my surroundings. I've got to go. And I found Bridge Builders, and that's where I met you, Jonathan. I can just tell you, when you're down, or you feel like you are completely just flipped upside down, turned inside out, that is not the time to go and crawl in a fetal position in your closet even though we would love to do that, turn off the lights and just say, God, wake me up when this is over, because that typically doesn't happen. But I went out and served, and I went out with the purpose of serving. And what happened to me is that they ministered to me more than I could ever possibly imagine, and that was one of the blessings, and that was a really a neat thing, because it wasn't about me. It was actually seeing and going to serve, but being ministered to, being loved on by people, and was able to meet the staff at Bridge Builders. They took me around the area. They introduced me to people. I want to tell you that was a really neat place in my life, even though, again, upside down, flipped inside and out, crazy stuff. I mean, we're all people, and I know there's a lot of people this year have been through some craziness. I mean, our whole world has been through craziness. But I want to tell you that if we ever miss out on serving, then we're really doing an injustice to us personally. I really believe that, as hard as it may seem, as sucky as it may be, yes, Lyndon, I did say sucky. I don't know if that's a word or not. It probably
is now.
It is now. Put that on their blooper reel. So, as tough as it may be for us, I want to tell you, find a place to serve. Go find somebody to bless. Go find somebody to help. Go meet that person on the street corner, and where you might just pass them by. Just tell them you love them. I mean, they're human beings, and they're just people. And that was the neatest thing, Jonathan. So talk a little bit about, I mean, how you guys, I love that Adopt-A-Block. I really do. So you go in there to Adopt-A-Block, and you explain that whole process, because I will butcher it, Jonathan, on my explanation, because I thought it was Blockbuster for a while, and that was just a old movie place rental.
Yeah. So Adopt-A-Block really is our heart's intention, is just always walk with people. We always tell people, we'll walk with you as far as you want to walk. Okay. So in doing that, you have to have a gateway. And Ken, you were talking about educating and walking with and informing your constituents and your clients. And so much of what we do is the exact same. I mentioned we can't provide every program. We can't provide a housing program, right? And so one of the things we do that I'm proud of is we offer a faith and finance class. And as people go through that faith and finance class, we offer them opportunities to go speak with Habitat for Humanity through our partnership with Habitat for Humanity. Over 15 years now, we've seen 100 homes built in the community of Bonton, right? Telling them about things like the homestead exemption, right? To where if you apply for that, if you're a homeowner, you can cap your property tax if you're applicable, so that your property tax doesn't continue to increase. So it's continually affordable for maybe a low-income resident to live in his home and to sustain his home while the area around him is increasing in economic prosperity. And so we try to really just give our residents tools for success. And one of those means is Adopt-A-Block, and certainly fixing fences, doing landscaping, repairing the outside of their home to where it meets code compliance, whatever it may be. That's a physical labor of love that is beneficial. As Brian mentioned, though, one of the things that we love is that mutual transformation that occurs when volunteers walk alongside us. The two of our values are uniting individuals and mutual transformation. So we believe that when we bring people together from different communities, different walks of life, different ethnicities, even religions at times, and watching them walk together, you can see a transformation that sparks revivals and new movements in our city. We've seen that here in the community of Bonton, and the physical transformation and spiritual transformation that's happened already in our 25 years existence, and just how it's continuing to growing in the days ahead. But in regards to Adopt-A-Block, it is just one of the many means in which we really get out into the neighborhood. We also have community events. I mentioned the Bonton Neighborhood Association, working with other South Dallas coalitions to really promote our name and allow people to know what we're they're doing and the services we provide. So really just community empowerment in totality. One of our models of ministry is based off of the story of Nehemiah in the Bible. Nehemiah had a burden. He was a prophet. He had a burden for the city of Jerusalem. He knew them and understood their need. He engaged them. He equipped them, gave them the tools for success, gave them a hammer in one hand to build, or bricks in one hand to build back the wall that was torn down around them that made them defenseless, and gave them a sword in the other to defend against enemy attacks. But then I think one of the most key aspects and powerful aspects of the story of Nehemiah is that he empowered the people. Nehemiah and his men did not build back the city of the wall of Jerusalem themselves. Instead, they empowered the residents, the people, to build back the portion of the wall in front of their homes, in front of their businesses, and therefore watching them succeed as they gave them the necessary tools for success and the real opportunities for success. The walls were torn down for 150 years, but in those 52 days, Nehemiah and the city of Jerusalem built back the wall. And so they're then defense. They had defense, they had security, and prosperity came from that.
That is awesome. So Ken, go back to your client that you're helping. He was paying what, $1,850 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, $1,850 a month. So we're going to talk about empowerment here. So $1,850 a month, multiply that by 12 is $22,200 a year that you could actually be investing into the equity of your home. Correct. But he was putting it into he's putting it in somebody else's pocket to live. There was nothing wrong with renting. There's really not. I think that once we empower people, you're going to take that, you're going to redirect the money so he can be empowered. So we see that you're empowering people. Jonathan, we see that you're empowering people. Lyndon, with just the reach in a year of 500,000 people through the difference, you're empowering people. And the reason we do these shows and these podcasts is to show that everybody can play a part. Everybody. So the people that have their homes that maybe their fence has fallen down, or their home is their yard needs to be mowed, or it doesn't meet code. There are places around my house where I live that we could actually do adopt-a-block. We could. And it doesn't matter what neighborhood we live in. It doesn't matter where we go. People they need help with their homes, or they need help with their financing. They just need a good neighbor. They just need a friend. How are we empowering people? And that's what I love having you guys on here, is that empowerment of if I can make someone else better. But let's take it a step further. How are we showing those people, hey, listen, I want to help you in your situation, but or do we, instead of a but, do we tell them and say, hey, listen, when I do this for you, I'd like you to do this for others. That's the going over. That's the overachiever.
I was going to say, Brian, that for a lot of people, just the awareness of what's going on in our neighborhoods, a lot of us aren't aware of. We Holly Haggard's show, she talks about the human trafficking, and you don't realize that a lot of the negative that's going on in your neighborhoods, you also don't realize a lot of the positive that's going on. And so with social media, the way that it is in today's world, just knowing about bridge builders and sharing that on social media could make an impact beyond anything that you could ever do on a Saturday afternoon with your bare hands, right? Not that we don't want people to come out and participate, but just encouraging, supporting, and being involved in promoting these good things that are going on in our communities can really make a huge difference, because the more people that know about it, the more opportunities we're all going to have to do more.
Absolutely. So, and Ken, I want to go back on this financing side. So, because I like numbers. So 1,850, that's 22. What did I say? 22,200 in a year. Don't judge me on my math. I used my calculator, and hopefully it was right.
22,200. Yeah.
Okay.
22,000.
But you got him into a home for how much? What was his what is his payment going to be on
His mortgage payment was going to be about 1520.
1520? So being able to show him that there was $230 extra that he has.
Correct.
Now, what would happen if we took that $230 extra and said, "Hey, listen, I want you to find bridge builders. I want you to give back because that's good. I want you to find a local community. I want you to find a charity to give back because we're gonna save you that money. But you can't outgive God. You just can't do it. You can try, and that will be your 2021 challenge. Try to outgive God because he's really big. He's infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. He's just like super huge to me. I have not been able to outgive him. But I want to tell you, when we take that money, how do you allocate it? How do you put it to your home? How are you doing this? And then how are you giving back? And those are just really neat key things that I discuss with people. Like, hey, listen, sow a seed. Go give. Go bless somebody. Now, one of my things is when I love ministering to homeless shelters because I want people to get homes. Not because I'm a real estate agent, but because I believe everybody should have food on the table. Everybody should have a place to live, and everybody should have a good, healthy place to start from. Your home is your safe haven, and I'm definitely a proponent of that. But how can I help these people? And I know that I have driven by some people, and I didn't have $1 in my pocket. It frustrated me. But Ken, what you're doing is showing people, hey, listen, how to get a little extra dollars in your pocket. Whether it's for recreation or entertainment, it's fantastic. But what about those people that just wanted to give that didn't have any money? And now you freed up, $230. Well, they have at least $30 extra to give every month. And that's fun stuff to me because now we're teaching people how to take that, what you're blessing, and now sow that extra into other causes, and then you begin to reap more. It's just fantastic. Guys, don't all talk at once on this deal.
Oh, no.
So Jonathan, let me hear from you because I know we talked numbers there, but how can, because I know I served during the Christmas season last year and absolutely loved it and was with you guys. I have never done Adopt a Block, and I'm going to do that. But tell us how we could serve there, how we could give back.
Yeah. So we have a lot of practical ways to serve. If you go to our website, bridgebuilders.org, you can find more ways to serve, to get involved. Like I mentioned, we have the Adopt a Block program. That's the third Saturday of every month from 9 a.m. to noon here in Bonton and South Dallas. We have opportunities in our job training program. If you're an adult and you love kind of life coaching or career success and want to see people receive jobs, then you can serve as an ally to walk alongside someone as they're going through a job training program. If you have kids ministry or kids outreach, we have a mentoring partnership with Mercy Street where they provide the mentoring curriculum and accountability, and we provide the students right to be mentored who want people in their lives to walk alongside them, encourage them, help them persist in their education and their goals and learning about the world, etc. Those life lessons that are so invaluable as you grow up. But there are lots of ways to serve and to be involved in this ministry. We have our big events. One of them coming up is Christmas in Bonton. It's usually a really, really large event. We're scaling it down a little bit because of COVID, trying to be careful. We serve a vulnerable population who, if they contract COVID, it's more risky for them. But we still have opportunities to serve from December 16th through 18th, whether it's helping set up for Christmas, volunteering at our Christmas store where we provide brand new toys for pennies or nickels on a dollar, and opportunities like that for people to really give back and to be a part of this work that we're doing here in South Dallas.
That is awesome. And the Christmas event, guys, is so unique and so interesting because they basically set up a store. and the parents of these children can go and purchase toys and clothes and books and all the things that we donate, and they can do it at such a they have self-esteem. They don't take their self-esteem away. They don't take their parenting away. They actually empower these people. And that's what I thought was awesome. I mean, it is such a revelatory, great job, by the way. Brilliant. I mean, really is just a brilliant ministry that goes back and gives back to that community. So, Lyndon, what I have talked this whole show, but it is my show.
It's your show.
Well, it is. But go ahead, say something. You've just been quiet over there.
Well, I'm listening, learning what these guys do. What I would like to know, and I know that Jonathan, you touched on it a little bit, but how has COVID impacted what you guys are doing? And Kenneth, I know that you're I would say relatively new in the mortgage industry, but how are you seeing the impact? Are you concerned about the curve going back up? I mean, how's that going to change things for either one of you? What's your game plan?
Well, for our community, like I mentioned, it's a vulnerable population. So we not only have higher risk of people getting the disease and having more deeper consequences when they receive or if they contract the disease, but also greater economic ramifications, right? So if these individuals are working hourly jobs and they get COVID, they're not salaried. And so if they're not working, they're not getting paid. And obviously you can't work with COVID. And so if they're already living paycheck to paycheck, if you are out 2 weeks, that has really critical effects that can have catastrophic consequences of losing your home, losing a car. That sounds radical, but really people are just a paycheck away from those happening here in South Dallas. Additionally, with schools, right? You don't want people to get COVID in our neighborhood, but at the same time, our kids have a greater disparity in their education for online learning. And so we want them to be in school because they learn better in school and they have higher chances of success and being at grade level reading. But at the same time, if they go to school, they have a higher chance. And so it is combating all of these things. Food insecurity is a really big issue in our neighborhood too. We've handed out thousands of pounds of food over the past months to hundreds of families. And from that, we've actually launched the 100 Homes Initiative, to where our team has identified 100 new homes that we didn't know prior to COVID, that through our food outreach, we've been able to meet. And so those are new relationships that we're getting to walk with people. And so you mentioned a silver lining of COVID from at the beginning of this show. One silver lining per se, it's not a good thing, but a silver lining, a good that we have seen out of it, is a lot of new relationships. We're hopeful and optimistic that once COVID's done, we can really grow those relationships, plug them into our programming, and really empower them to lead forth their community in the days ahead. So definitely high risk. We're trying to mitigate it all we can with our emergency food response, greater educational resources and opportunities for the kids with online learning. Lexia reading software is a great software we're utilizing. Homework tutors to help them catch them up. We have resources to help people find jobs, to locate them in jobs outside of our job training program. So really just trying to surround them as much as we can, giving one-on-one rides because we can't do group rides anymore. So giving one-on-one rides. So whatever we can do really to mitigate the consequences of COVID.
That's awesome.
I do like the fact that you brought up the silver lining that new relationships are being forged, which are great. I noticed that one thing that the COVID has done, especially, my wife and I we're very introspective, and we believe in personal development. We believe in mindset. We ask the Lord a lot to open up our eyes, and it's been fascinating that through this season, long season, guys, oh my goodness, long, it's just been crazy, but our eyes are opened, and we're seeing additional opportunities. We're seeing new areas that we didn't go in. We actually, it slowed us down enough where we could take a different look at life. And that has been very helpful. I don't know if I would have met Ken, and Ken, really, really excited that we met this year. So Ken, I'm going to piggyback off of what Lyndon said with COVID, and we understand, and houses, some people, whether they've suffered job loss, or they've suffered even worse loss, they've been sick, or whatever. The homes, you can help with various areas of that, as far as cash flow, income, refinancing. Do they need to buy? Do they need to sell, etc.? So share with us what's going on in your world in regards to that. And another question I have here are the multiple questions in one paragraph here. I told you guys it was going to happen. I just can't hold back and help myself from it. Lyndon taught me that. So my other question is, with first response and your background with law enforcement, are you, or do you have a program, or do you have an emphasis in reaching out to first responders, law enforcement, medical professionals, and that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that we did even before the COVID, but even well, actually, when we originally started the program, we make special concessions to help buy down their points, or to help with closing costs, and that comes directly out of my commission, so that we are taking care of the people who take care of us every day. They're still my brothers, they're still my sisters, and I want to continue that relationship with them. But after COVID-19 showed its lovely head, we've also expanded that to nurses and doctors, and people that are working front lines. I remember my friends, going to work and working the streets every day, just like there was nothing different. When everybody else was quarantined at home, these guys were still going out there and still fighting fires, and foot chases and shootings and all of those things. They typically go up when people are confined. Christmas is very busy for our men and women in law enforcement and fire. Any holiday. When I was on the SWAT team for 17 years, and my kids and I joked about this a couple of weeks ago. I can't think of one Christmas or one thing that I didn't get called up out of because something was going on. So during this time, when you see something that it's the little things you can do, if you see that firefighter or that police officer, and she's sitting in her car, be careful, don't scare them when you walk up, but wave at them and just tell them, hey, thanks, I appreciate everything you do for us. Because believe it or not, that goes on a lot more than some of the negative stuff, and that just kind of balances out everything that we're talking about. If there's any kind of a silver lining to this, I think we're really learning that our teachers, our first responders, even the Domino's guys who are having to work through this, they're still being exposed, and we need to make sure that anything we can do to just give them a thumbs up and say, man, I appreciate you being there for my family every day. Because we're blessed. I don't know if I'm sure you guys, we're still working from home, from my office. Our office is actually in South Lake, and quite honestly, I'm very spoiled. I don't know that I want to go back to South Lake to go to work because I'm enjoying being at home. But those guys and people that you see every day, they're going to work every day, and they're risking their lives so that we can go to the grocery store, so that we can go to the wherever it is that we're doing. So when you see those, as a former first responder, I can tell you, and it can be the door greeter at your local big box store, just go up and say, man, I really appreciate everything you're doing. And that shows, that brings a little love to their heart, and maybe somebody else overhears you and they're like, man, I'm going to do that at the next place. And if we could all just do some more of that, that doesn't make the news. But it was kind of like Jonathan. I'd never heard of his program. Had there something bad happen with his program, we'd all know about it. But we're just now finding out about these wonderful things, because that's not what's on the news. And it's up to us as a community to empower all of us with the simple gesture of thank you, or appreciate what you're doing, and shows like this are fantastic. Now, Jonathan's got me excited and motivated. I want to grab my nail gun and my, all my tools and put it in the bed of the truck and head to South Dallas and help, fix somebody's house. I mean, this is great. This is really, really great. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing with the show, Brian.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I really feel that it's imperative for us, imperative, critical. We can use all of the adjectives that we want to describe our heart here. But how cool would it be for us to take a couple of principles here? One, find somebody that you can say thank you to every single day. Just one person. I mean, we come in contact with a lot of people. If you don't leave home and you are say, make a phone call, shoot an email, a text. I mean, we can reach out to say, hey, thank you. We appreciate what you're doing. And the other thing that I really would like to emphasize is to find a place to serve. Find a place to serve during the holiday season. Find a place to serve throughout the year of 2021. Make it a part of your daily, monthly, weekly routine that you're going to reach out and you're going to go find a place to serve. Call Jonathan at Bridge Builders. Ask how you can serve and help out. Call Ken and say, hey, Ken, point me in the right direction. What are their foundations or their charities that you would reach out to or recommend, for law enforcement, first responders. This season we're in right now, I watched the Lord bring new people in my life, and I want to tell you the empowerment that we have, the power that we have as a collective group, as a community that goes out and says thank you, that goes out and appreciates people, that goes out beyond our job, beyond our career, beyond that to go serve, just help people. I want to tell you, you'll be the most blessed, most happy, fulfilled person you could possibly be. So it's 11:53. We literally have about 6 minutes. Jonathan, could you give me about a 90-second thoughts, recap, reach out, whatever you need to do, and Ken, be your next in line.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things my dad would always tell me and all of his friends is to show me your checkbook and show me your calendar, and that reveals the intentions of your heart. And so just during this holiday season, as we head into 2021, hopefully a little brighter year, and you set your New Year's resolutions or your New Year's goals, evaluate, looking at your calendar, looking at your bank account, what do you give towards? What do you spend your time on? What do you really care about? Because those two things really reflect what you care about and what you're burdened about. And in reflecting in those things, evaluate, does this honor God? Does this honor my values? Does this honor what I want to be known for and for my legacy? And then if it doesn't, figure out what does, and then get involved in those movements. It may be bridge builders. It may be something else. It may be helping law enforcement. It may be serving your community or in your church or in your community center. Whatever it may be, evaluate what you want to be known for, what your values are you reflecting those values in your day-to-day life?
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you, Jonathan, for being on our program today.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it.
So, Ken, you're up. 90 seconds.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on the show. And what I really wanted to point out is that we're here to help. We're obviously, I have programs for my first responders. We also have programs for other things. But if you want to get out and help your community, you want to help your police, your fire, your nurses, or whatever, just pick up the phone and find out what you can do. Hopefully there'll be more programs like this that we could spread what we're going to do with Jonathan and his stuff. Our personal philanthropy that we do is we do DFW Rescue Me, and it's giving animals a second chance, and it's a Dallas-based program. So we do a little bit of different stuff that way, but the people that we meet, the people that we've come in contact with have just been wonderful, and we're helping a different part of the community. And I joke with my wife all the time, when we find the perfect house for someone, and they're ready and they move in, and then they I hope they call me and say, hey, we're ready for that perfect pet, and we can put them in contact with some of our organizations and find the perfect forever home for a lost pet. So
Ken, you are going to be my you and your wife are going to be my wife's best friend, because she tells people that I rescue people, and she rescues animals. So we're a really good fit. So that's awesome. And thank you both for being on this program. Lyndon, you do not get 90 seconds. What in closing remarks?
I don't need it. I wanted to, and I posted up a couple of times, but I did want to tell James Kern thanks for commenting. He put a couple of comments on there about Bridge Builders. Obviously got some connections there, and we appreciate all the likes, comments, shares, following our pages and our guest pages, because we want to connect as deeply and as widely as we possibly can, because collectively we can all do more. So I want to thank everybody that does watch the show. Jonathan, it was a pleasure meeting you. And Kenneth, second time to connect. Nice to see you again. And so appreciate you guys being here.
And guys, again, I want to remind you of the Vet Grill. The Vet Grill sponsors Redefining Real Estate. We can't do it without our sponsors. If you have any desire or any questions regarding sponsorship, you'd like to be on the program as a guest, please reach out to us. Let me know personally. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, Jonathan and Ken. Have a very blessed holiday season. I will be talking to you before the Christmas time comes around, but I appreciate you guys greatly, and thrilled to have you on the show and hear what you do and how you're serving the community. Lyndon, you are always a great friend and a great sounding board, and enjoy our daily fireside chats, because they are feisty and they are fireside. So, but we sharpen one another, we make each other better, and that's what we want to do with the difference. And redefining real estate is also redefining our relationships and making sure that we're empowering, encouraging people. I almost put empowering.
You said empowering. You said it. Don't try to slip that. You did.
I did.
So that's two today.
Two bloopers today. So, but we want to encourage and empower people. We want to inspire people to reach out, to say thank yous, to say you appreciate other people, and to find a place to serve and to give back, because that's what our world needs. And we need a group of people that's doing that will share our voice and our story. Great to hear from you guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Redefining Real Estate on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. If you would share our program, we would greatly appreciate that. Thank you for all your comments, any questions or thoughts that you have about the program. Please give us a call, reach out to me via email, Facebook, message me, and we'll get back with you promptly. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week at 11 o'clock on Tuesday.
The Difference is a proud supporter of the following nonprofits: Creek and Timber Legacy, providing outdoor learning, hunting, and firearm therapy for veterans, first responders, and children with serious illness. You can find more info at creekandtimberlegacy.org. And Sharp Shoes. Through local schools and shelters, Sharp Shoes helps provide new shoes for countless needy people and their families. You can find more info at sharpshoes.org.